Hello friends. Today we have an Acer laptop for repair. A little later I will show the full name of the laptop. The laptop does not turn on after a frost. Suspicion of a faulty keyboard. Let's check. We connected the power supply to the laptop, the indicator lights up. Friends, the computer does not turn on. Let's disassemble the laptop and look for the reason why the laptop does not turn on. The laptop shows no signs of life. Let's look at the laptop and see the full name. The full name of the laptop: Acer Aspire 3A315-41, N17C4. We unscrew all the screws on the bottom cover of the laptop. I have already done this in advance so as not to waste your time. All screws are the same except for one. A short screw is screwed on the left side. I don't see additional screws, so we begin to snap off the case with a plastic element in order not to damage the laptop case. And so friends, removed the lid. We continue the analysis. First, disconnect the laptop battery so as not to close the laptop when pausing. The battery is similar to the battery from a phone or tablet. The battery is held in place by two silver screws. This is what the battery looks like. Remove the battery and disconnect all cables that go to the motherboard. And here is the cable that comes from the keyboard. The hard drive is located on the right side. Hard drive 128 GB. These are modern hard drives. Turn off the cable to the monitor. We remember the location of the coaxial wires, white on top and black on the bottom. It's just a plastic plug. I assume that there are laptops in this series with two fans. The motherboard is held on by two screws. On the left side is a small screw and on the right is a long screw. We took out the payment. We examine the board for the presence of water ingress. I don't see any damaged components. Only in one place there is a suspicious element, on the buttons of which there is a white powder. Let's clean it up. Remove the motherboard for now. The keyboard is installed using plastic nickels. Now let's see how to get the keyboard. To get to the keyboard, we need to remove the black film. Let's do that. Replacing the keyboard on this laptop is much more difficult than on conventional laptops. Too much to do to get to the keyboard. When peeling off the film, you need to be careful not to tear the keyboard cable. We remove the film while aside. Now we will pull out the white coaxial cable. So, we remove the monitor. Now the fun part. We finally got to the keyboard. First we need to remove the metal plate. It is attached in the same way as the keyboard, using plastic. To remove the plate you need to unscrew 3 screws. Next, we need to melt the plastic to remove the plate. We heat at 170 degrees Celsius. We take out the sensor so that it does not interfere with our work. So, we remove the metal plate. We remove it. And now we repeat the procedure with the keyboard itself. Finally dismantled the keyboard. We connected all the components to the motherboard in order to check the old keyboard. Suddenly it works. The fan started up by itself when the power was connected. At the same time, I saw that the monitor turned on. Now I'll show you. Here we have such an impromptu computer. How do you think? If you give the client a laptop in this condition, he will be satisfied? Write in the comments. The laptop turns on as you can see. Now we will test the old keyboard. The laptop strangely turned on by itself. I did not turn it on. Now let's press the keys on the keyboard and check it. The keyboard doesn't work. Only the power button works. I'll reconnect the cable now. Maybe it will help, but I think it's unlikely. Unfortunately, apart from the power button, nothing else works. Connected the touchpad, it works. Let me search the internet for such a keyboard and order it. And so the guys connected a new keyboard to the laptop. Now let's check. Press the letter A. I checked all the keys and they all work. Everything is fine. After we made sure that the keyboard is working, we need to install it in its place. To install it, you must first prepare the landing site. You need to break off the tips with plastic. You can do this with the help of pliers. There are a lot of them here and it will take us quite a lot of time. But otherwise it won't work. You can come up with your own way of how to cut off the ends of the plastic, but do not cut them off completely because we will use them to attach the keyboard. I only showed you how to do it. I'll bite the rest behind the scenes so as not to waste a lot of time. The video is already quite long. It is more convenient to do this by taking the frame in hand. It is not so convenient on the table. Well guys, let's install the keyboard. Start from any corner and move gradually. Using a soldering iron, melt the plastic and make heels that will hold the keyboard. We immediately prepare a place for landing and the metal plate itself. We do the same principle as with the keyboard. As you can see, the keyboard on this laptop is quite difficult to change. Moreover, the new keyboard is not original. All spare parts are usually from China. There are two more small plastic pins that I apparently did not see when preparing to land the keyboard. I'll try to melt them with a soldering iron and push the keyboard into place. They prevent the keyboard from sitting in its place. Once again we check how the keyboard sat down. In general, the keyboard sat well, but in one place it did not completely sit down. We will try to tighten the keyboard with neighboring plastic pins. Now the keyboard sits perfectly in its place. I'll try to pull the keyboard up in one more place. Now install the metal plate in its place. With this plate we do the same as with the keyboard. We also pass with a soldering iron in the places of attachment of the alloy. I'll do it behind the scenes. And sir, I installed the plate. Now install the touchpad in its place. Then glue the protective film. So, ready. Next, install the USB board and tighten it with one screw. I installed the case on the monitor and screwed it on. We tighten the monitor mount on the right side with one screw, and two screws on the left side. Next, we carry out a coaxial cable. We lay it along our fasteners. There are special fasteners for the wire. We draw it through them. Next, we draw a black coaxial cable in the same way as it was before parsing. Instead of black tape, I glued my thermal tape because the old one was no longer glued. Next, see how I run the wires through the case. Now we need to install the motherboard. Let's see how to do it. When parsing the fan, you cannot turn off friends. I turned it off when parsing, but it does not interfere, so you cannot disconnect the fan connector. Next, connect the connector going to USB. Then the power wire to the motherboard. Then twisted 2 wires on a black plug. The fan itself was also screwed on with 2 screws. Then we connected the speakers of the laptop. Then installed coaxial wires. Next, connect the touchpad and tighten it with 3 screws. After screwing the touchpad, you need to connect the battery and the rest of the cable. We also connect the keyboard cable. That's all loops are connected. It seems that they didn't forget something. Now you need to put on the cover and test the keyboard. Now we will put on the back cover and tighten the 2 screws where the monitor is attached in order not to break the fasteners on the laptop. But first, let's install the battery. Now we tighten the 2 screws where I said. Now we will try to test the keyboard. We connect the power supply. The laptop has an M2 hard drive installed and the computer should turn on quickly. But unfortunately for some reason it takes a long time to start up. Perhaps this is due to the small RAM. And so the Acer screensaver appeared. We check how the keyboard is installed. I see that it is installed perfectly. We check the touchpad because we turned it off. Let's open some file and check the keyboard. Everything is fine. All the buttons work. The only thing I forgot to tighten the motherboard with 2 screws. Therefore, remove the cover and tighten the 2 screws. We also check the sound. Because we turned off the speakers. Now removing the cover again, tighten the 2 screws. Do not forget that the long screw is screwed into the right side and the short screw into the left side. Now we have done everything right. I said at the beginning of the video that a short screw is screwed in the left corner, so we do it, we screw it into place. In the rest of the holes, we have the same screws. It remains for us to install the covers and tighten them. We tighten the screws around the perimeter. We check once again whether all the screws are screwed in. Now we do a control test of the laptop and keyboard. As you can see, the keyboard sits perfectly in its place. Let's check it out. Well friends, this video ends. I will call the client and make him happy. Subscribe to the channel, put your fingers up. And see you soon friends. Good luck with your repairs.